Caravan is a wonderful jazz standard to learn, and it's very exotic sounding for its time. In this lesson, I'll show you the chords, the form, and run through the harmony too. Everything you see on the screen, including chord shapes, is available as a PDF. Check the link in the description below. First thing we need to look at is the form. Now here's my chart on the screen. So this is AABA, so your typical form, but this time we've got 64 bars. Each section is 16 bars. This is different to the typical 32 bar standard. And just looking at that A section, you can see there's two chords. Obviously there's many other ways it could be played, but there's only two chords there. And if we look at the B section, there's not too many chords there too. So this makes it a very good standard for practicing soloing over, because it's not got too many chord changes. One thing you want to be aware of is that this song is often played with the A section with a Latin rhythm, like sort of like a samba sort of feel, quite often like, and then the B sections with a swing, or sometimes it's all swung. Chord shapes you're going to need: C7, like this up here, 3-note voicing, an F minor, we've got like a reduced version of a bar chord, F7, 3-note voicing, B flat 7, 3-note voicing, E flat 7, 3-note voicing, A flat 6, 3-note voicing, back to our C7 we had earlier. So we've got 12 bars of C7, 4 bars of F minor, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then so on, until we reach the F minor for 4 bars. That then repeats, so the A sections are identical. So one thing on this A section, it's great that there's only 2 chords, but one difficulty you might have is knowing when to change. You know, if you lose concentration, well, you might be like, oh, I don't know how many bars I played. So, you know, just be sure that you keep track. You know, you either sort of think of it as 3 chunks of 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that 3 more times before the F minor comes in. Or you have to count every bar, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, that sort of thing. So you're just keeping tracks of the bars mentally as you go along. Another thing that can help with doing that A section is just think of the melody in order, to know when to change chords. So like da, da, do, 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 do. Keep that going, you know, until you reach the F. That will be an easy way to know when to change chord if you have difficulty counting the bars. So you do that A section twice, so you get 12 bars of C7, then 4 bars of F minor. Do that all twice, and then hit the B section, and we're going to get F7 for 4 bars, into B flat 7 for 4 bars, into E flat 7 for 4 bars, and then A flat 6 for 2 bars, into C7 for 2 bars. So 4 bars of F7, B flat 7 for 4 bars, E flat for 4 bars, A flat for 2 bars, and C7 for 2 bars, which takes us back to kick off the A section again. One thing I like to cover in these videos is typical variations, because jazz standards are played in so many different ways, but I like to just cover some very typical things that go on. Now, C7 is fine to voice that chord in that A section, but quite often you'll get people using this chord, C7 flat 9, which just has that note there on the B string, which is the flat 9, which is very tense. You met that for 12 bars with that haunting melody over the top. Sounds wonderful. And then instead of going to a plain F minor like this, let's go to F minor 6. You might recognize that as a D minor 7 flat 5. Bonus thing really here is that, you know, F minor 6, D minor 7 flat 5 contain the same notes. So that would be the A section. We'd have 12 bars of C7 flat 9 to F minor 6. Could do F minor 6 like this too. Just sound nice. So. Or great sounding chords. My second variation to the A section involves moving the C7 up a semitone and back down to create more movement. So like. Do that 3 times. And then on the F minor we go. That's a minor rundown, going F minor major 7, F minor 7, F minor 6. On the G string you get this 4, F, E, E flat, D. I've made a video on the minor major 7 minor rundown, so I'll link that in the description, because if you want to get other voicings for it, like it could be. I'll put a link in the description to a video I made about the minor rundown, about that very progression, if you want to learn it other places, like here's just a few ways. But yeah, you get that C7, D flat 7, C, which I think is great sort of movement in the bass. It really makes it more interesting. So there's 2 variations you can have to the A section, either making the C7, C7 flat 9, and then the F minor 6, or having that whole C7, D flat 7, C, and then the F minor rundown, that thing, on the F minor section, the 4 bars. Let's move on to the harmony. As ever, let's look at the key section, 4 flats. What does that mean? 4 flats is the key of A flat major or F minor. Now you can clearly hear in that A section, it's all about getting to F minor. So we'll think of it from the perspective of that. Now here on the screen are the typical chords on the key of F minor, and that A section you can see uses chord 1 and chord 5, starting out on chord 5. Now 5 chords, dominant chords, they always want to get somewhere. And they sound tense and unresolved because they want to go to the 1. So that whole section, that whole A section, is about when you're on that C7 or that C7 flat 9 or that C7 D flat 7 C7. It's all about the journey to F minor and that sort of sense of resolution when you get there. So it's just one big 5-1 progression, that A section. Now if we look in the B section, there are some chords in key, there are a few out as well, and we do a typical thing where we take a minor chord and make it a dominant. So we're taking that F minor when we finish the A section and creating movement by making it a dominant. Now F7, dominant chords, you only get 1 dominant chord in a key. F7 is the dominant of B flat. Lo and behold, the next chord is B flat 7. B flat 7 is the dominant of E flat. Lo and behold, the next chord's E flat. E flat is the dominant of A flat. So there it lands on an A flat chord. And like any B section, it's always about getting back. And the C7 helps us go back to C7, so you get that sort of continuity as you cross back into the next A section. So we've got dominant, 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 then major 6, then dominant. Now these dominants just lead into each other, those 3 there, leading to the A flat 6. If you look at a circle of fifths, you'll see it moving perfectly round. F, B flat, E flat, to the A flat, and then it changes back to the C. So some really typical movements here, there. We call that, and this is a really common thing where dominant chords are cycling in fourths, and on the circle of fifths, if you go counterclockwise, we're moving in fourths, and you see there F, B flat, E flat, A flat. The cycle is broken, we go to a C, which takes us back for the A section. But what we end up as a result with this harmony, we've got that whole A section, which is, you know, just those 2 chords, and it's all about that sort of sense of getting back to F minor, or, well, not even getting back to, but getting to F minor. Whereas the B section feels like we've got legs, it's moving somewhere. You know, it's really getting going and we're getting somewhere. And then that all kind of changes when we get back to the next A section, when we're back to the tension of just staying on a dominant chord. Whereas that, you know, the B section releases the tension of each dominant chord quite quickly. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2. That movement comes into the A flat, resolves there really. But then we get back to the C7, another A section, and we're stuck on C7 until eventually we get to F minor and that tension's resolved. A really important way to try to think about jazz standards is always, you know, the chords are always about trying to get somewhere by a certain point in time, and how dominant chords set up movement and tension, and release is achieved by, you know, fulfilling a certain movement or role that a dominant chord has. Don't forget to download the PDF of the chart, plus also the chord shapes that you're going to need to practice this. Listen to lots of versions, get those chords in, you know, under your fingers, try to memorize them, work on memorizing the melody. My next lesson will cover how to solo over these chord changes. That A section in particular is a gift because such a long time on one chord is so unusual, and it's a fantastic sort of chord progression for you to work on developing ideas, phrases that respond to each other, great for call and response, and also for trying to, build up to that F minor, which we'll talk about next time. Anyway, if you want to say thank you for today's lesson, there's my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. As I said, don't forget the resources, and don't forget jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and Saturday. Until next time, you take care.